If money manifesting isn't working out for you, here's a question worth pondering. How do all those people who have plenty of money but who never went near a vision board or chanted an affirmation in their lives do it? Where's their money coming from? Putting aside the ones who were born into wealth, in this video I'm going to explain how rich people think about money, and I'll reveal a surprising fact about how to manifest money that they're mostly not aware of and the rest of us overlook. Oh, and it's nothing to do with money mindset. Stay tuned. If you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that I spent years, I'm talking the better part of 3 decades, struggling for money, and for a lot of that time trying to manifest it the way the law of attraction gurus taught. You know, visualizing it, reciting affirmations about being wealthy, scripting for it, visualizing some more. Round and round in circles I went, and I got nowhere. The worst part of it was, I knew what was wrong. It was me. It had to be, didn't it? I mean, all those gurus couldn't be wrong. Could they?
Huh?
I didn't allow myself to think that way for a long time, not only because I was sure that all those people knew better than me, but also because if I dismissed all those teachings, where else was I to go for help? Yet there was a mystery here. Napoleon Hill, author of perhaps the best-selling book of all time on the power of thought to create wealth, Think and Grow Rich, died in poverty. Yet Dr. Joe Vitale, one of the stars of the movie The Secret, was once homeless and has become a millionaire. So even the gurus don't have a consistent track record, which left me wondering. I don't know the life stories of all the gurus, but it seems reasonable to speculate that at least some of them have gained their wealth from writing about the law of attraction, a bit like the old truth that in the gold rush, the people who really got rich were the shovel sellers, not the gold diggers themselves. The point was, there were varying results. I could find consistent teachings, you know, visualize, raise your vibrations and so on, but I couldn't be sure all these people were getting consistent results. By the way, if this resonates with you, I explain these ideas in detail in my free Effortless Money Manifesting Masterclass. You'll find the link below, or you can scan the QR code on screen. And after The Secret came out in 2006, although there were and still are people who claim to have had amazing results, there are millions of readers and viewers who've had no success with it at all. In my mind, I kept coming back to one question. It was just a whisper at first, but it kept knocking on the door of my consciousness. It was this: if the law of attraction works as they all say it does, why does it seem so difficult? My focus was mostly on money, although I had a lot of issues in the love department too, but we'll save that story for another day perhaps. And then I came across a couple of ideas that were nothing to do with the law of attraction, but were a lot to do with money. I can't remember where I read them now. I know they weren't from the same book or maybe blog, but my mind began to join some dots. The first one had to do with the way rich people think about money. The author had imagined a meeting between Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, who are, I believe, friends in real life. Apparently, amongst other things they like to do when they meet, is to play bridge. Two old friends playing a game of cards. What could be more normal than that? And then the author made a point that began to shift my thinking and my understanding about how to manifest money. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are two of the richest people in the world. Do you imagine, the writer asked, that when they meet, they discuss money? I mean, how much last week's grocery bill had gone up, or the price of a drink is probably not their regular topic of conversation, unless it's to do with share prices of food or booze on the stock market, perhaps. No. Money, as in how much is in their pocket, would be a non-issue for those guys. Just as if I came round to your place for a social visit, we'd be highly unlikely to discuss the wallpaper. It's just the background. It's a non-issue. Then there was the second thing I read. It had to do with the history of money through the ages. The author of that piece reminded readers that money has taken many forms, from beads to beans, from salt, which is where the word salary originated, to cattle, grains, feathers, and even teeth. I must see if I can get a discount the next time my dentist pulls one of my teeth out. No matter what the form, the idea comes from the same place, bartering, or to give it a simpler word still, swapping. Do you remember when we were at school, we'd want to swap collectible cards, marbles, or some toy, even for something a friend had? We didn't have money for the most part, so we just came up with our own ways of exchanging one thing for another. So, inevitably, since people have always wanted to swap things, probably since the dawn of civilization, which would coincide with the dawn of agriculture, because once we could grow our own food, we didn't need to be nomadic anymore. That's why communities grew, villages and towns, and eventually, as transportation improved, cities. Swapping tokens, that's all money is. And it could be made of anything as long as your community agreed on what it should be. Heaven only knows what kind of community were willing to swap teeth for things. I'm a bit squeamish about that one. But once I'd read that, I suddenly saw this whole money manifesting thing as ridiculous. Would I really try visualizing teeth or recite affirmations about having buckets full of spare teeth? I wonder if they accepted dentures as small change. This is the kind of shift in perspective that makes all the difference. And if you'd like me to walk you through how to actually apply it, check out my free Effortless Money Manifesting Masterclass. The link's below, or just scan the QR code. Money isn't the thing I or you want to manifest. Money is the go-between token to get the things and maybe lifestyle you want. It looks like money is the solution because we've got an agreement with our community that our present form of exchange tokens, which might even be a digital form of cryptocurrency these days, can be swapped for just about anything. But it's the swapping itself that really matters. Even taxes and bills, which most of us dislike intensely, of course, work the same way. We wouldn't be happy living with broken roads, no streetlights, no one collecting our trash and so on. At least I wouldn't be. So taxes pay for those things. So I'm told anyway. Same with energy bills. I don't want to live in a home with no heating, light or running water, do you? Those are the things we want, and those are just basics. Let's recap for a moment. Rich people don't put money front and centre of their lives. It's just background, like the wallpaper. And money itself is just an idea to make it easier for us to swap stuff. Wait, money's just an idea. Not only is money an idea, but it's exchanged for ideas too. Tiptoe back in your mind and recall any time in your life when money has arrived. There's always an idea behind it. I'll give you an example. Back in 2008, you might remember, the world's economies crashed and work that I'd relied on for more than 10 years dried up. When the phone didn't ring for a whole week, I wasn't too worried. I was working in mental health and I was sure that I'd been needed by someone. But every hospital and clinic had cut their budgets to the bone and the phone silence continued for the best part of a month. Eventually, my wife and I had the inevitable, what are we going to do conversation for the umpteenth time. I had no answer, of course, but on this particular day I said, maybe we're asking the wrong question. Now, I drew heavily on my psychotherapy training at this point, but what happened next, I now understand, worked directly because of the principle of effortlessness I now use everywhere in my life. Of course, my wife asked, well, what questions should we ask? I explained that simply worrying about the situation wasn't going to make the phone ring and that we were putting ourselves into an unresourceful, anxious state. No answers would come to us that way. A better question would be, how shall we be? She went along with me. Okay, she said, how shall we be then? I suggested playful. I had no idea if this would work. I only knew that something had to change and that it had to be us. We were not going to change external circumstances, no matter how much we visualized or recited affirmations. Manifestation is always an inside job first. At that moment, a foot-tapping tune came on our radio, so I took my wife's hands and we danced around our kitchen, giggling like little kids, until the music stopped. And then we sat down again and she looked at me expectantly. "Well," she said. Now, notice what I'd actually done. For the couple of minutes we danced and giggled, I'd stopped all the thinking about how to get money. So when we sat down, my mind was refreshed, empty, and an idea came. "I don't need the phone to ring," I blurted. "Money could come from anywhere." I suggested we both take a minute or two to write down every way either of us had made money since we were at school. I wrote things like newspaper delivery, cleaning my dad's car, playing my guitar in pubs, writing for magazines. Wait, writing! That's how my thinking went as I read my list back to my wife. This was the age of the internet. Surely somebody needed a writer. I ran to my computer and looked up freelance writing jobs. I signed up with a website, composed a short resume of my writing history, and immediately forgot about it. The next morning, which was a Sunday, imagine my immense surprise when I had an offer to do some writing for someone and he was offering me $1,000 for the job. Overnight, I solved the money problem, and it came from an idea which led to another idea, and in both instances, I acted on them. Notice what happened here. The solution didn't come while we were worrying. It came the moment we stopped. This formula has worked reliably hundreds of times, actually countless times since. Look, money doesn't just teleport into your account because you visualize numbers on a screen. It comes because an idea nudges you and you act. Ideas are how the universe delivers. They're also what the universe delivers. Let me put that another way. Ideas are money. They can also be love, by the way. Wherever you've set your intention, ideas will pop up. And ideas flow naturally when your mind is quiet enough to hear them. That's why forcing affirmations or obsessing about visualizations backfires. Your head gets noisier, not quieter. But when you stop trying to push and let the mind settle, ideas show up on their own. That's when you suddenly know who to call, or you get that unexpected invitation, or you see a simple way forward that was invisible 5 minutes earlier. That's how money actually arrives. I've seen this in my own life again and again. When I was broke and drowning in debt, it wasn't visualizing cash that saved me. It was the quiet thought, what if I called my creditors instead of avoiding them? That one idea led to a series of agreements that gave me breathing space. And here's what I want you to see. Money didn't appear because I forced it. It appeared because ideas flowed in once I stopped trying so hard. So here's the shortcut. Stop asking, where's the money? Start asking, what idea is waiting for me when I quiet down? That's the real abundance mindset. Not believing money has magical energy of its own, but trusting that the energy is already inside you. It's your creativity, your service, your uniqueness. And when you share that, people are happy to exchange tokens, money, for it. That's the true sequence. Quiet, idea, action, flow. That's how money actually arrives. If you want to keep exploring this effortless approach, especially how to end money anxiety once and for all, make sure you check out my free Effortless Money Manifesting Masterclass. The link is at the top of the description and the QR code is still on screen. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon in another video.